Today is the first day of the month of Cheshvan, Tafshin Pei Vav, and we are almost towards the end of this parak of Maseches Pesachim. We are at the very top of Daf Mem Tes Amud Aleph, where we are going to see two Mishnayos, and then a long discussion about dating and marriage advice. Says the Mishnah as follows. Top of Mem Tes Amud Aleph, Arba Asar Shechalias B'Shabbos, if the 14th day of Nisan falls out on a Shabbos, meaning Erev Pesach falls out on a Shabbos, Mevarnes Akol Mi Lifnei HaShabbos. Divrei Reb Meir. Reb Meir is telling us that the correct way to get rid of your chametz is to get rid of all of it before Shabbos. No chametz on Shabbos whatsoever. Rashi points out here, that means bein chulin bein truma, whether it's chulin or truma, chutz mikidei achilas l'Shabbos. Aside from that which you absolutely need to be eating on Shabbos, but anything that you would be planning on destroying later, you have to make sure you have destroyed beforehand. The Chachamim of the opinion bismana. No, you don't have to destroy it on. You don't destroy it on Erev Shabbos. You destroy it on Shabbos itself, which is Erev Pesach bismana, at the regular time. Obviously, not through sreifa, not through burning it, but through any other means. Rabbi Elazar bar Tzadok, Omer Rabbi Elazar bar Tzadok says, Truma milifnei Shabbos. The rule is, and we saw this in the first parak, Truma milifnei Shabbos. Truma needs to be destroyed before Shabbos because you are pretty sure that any kohanim that you'd be able to distribute it to, you're not going to end up with new kohanim showing up on Shabbos. So that Truma needs to be destroyed before Shabbos, v'chulin mizmanam, and chulin during their regular time. Says the Gemara as follows: Tanya, Rabbi Elazar bar Tzadok, says Rabbi Elazar bar Tzadok, Pamachas Shabbos Abba b'Yavne. Once it happened that Abba, which is Rabbi Tzadok, spent a Shabbos in Yavne, v'chal arba asalias b'Shabbos, and the 14th day of Nisan was a Shabbos, was an Erev Pesach, shechales b'Shabbos. Uvad Zonin Memuna Shel Rabbi Gamliel, and Zonin, who was the attendant agent of Rabbi Gamliel, came along. V'amar, and he said, everybody make sure to destroy your chametz. It's it's going to be chametz destroying time. V'alachti achar Abba, and I walked behind my father. Uvi'arnu es hachametz, and we destroyed the chametz. Meaning, he says, I have personal testimony from my father and from spending a Shabbos by Rabbi Gamliel, that this is how Rabbi Gamliel passed on, this is how my father passed on. You destroyed the chametz on Shabbos itself. Masnisin, the next Mishnah as follows: if somebody is on his way to Shechit his korban Pesach, or to give a bris milah to his son, or to go and have a wedding feast, a engagement feast, really, that's Kiddushin and Erisin, in his father-in-law's house, meaning he's the group. And he goes, oh, gewalt, I just remembered, I have chametz at home. What am I going to do about this? If he can go home quickly, destroy his chametz, burn his chametz, meaning assuming that it's not a Shabbos, and then get back to doing his mitzvah, then he should go home, he should destroy it. And if not, if there isn't enough time for that, he accomplishes getting rid of chametz through bittul. If he is on his way to save Jews from non-Jews, unfortunately, we seem to know this story all too well throughout Jewish history, and once again in the last few weeks and months, a Jew that finds out, gewalt, I need to go save another Jew, min hanachrim, from non-Jews that are attacking him, min hanar, from a river, min halistim, or from thieves, min hadeleko, from a fire, min hamapolis, or from a collapsed building. So what do? Yivatel beliba, you can get rid of the chametz in your heart. That is the correct thing to do. Don't turn around and go to see if you can, still make it to destroy your chametz and then come back to save the Jew from the nachrim that are trying to kill him. Be mevatel in your heart and move on. What if a person is going, meaning obviously all of those are pikuach nefesh, or pikuach nefesh, or related to pikuach nefesh. What if a person is on his way to make an erev tchumin, meaning he wants to make a shivisa? He's going to walk outside of the field, and meaning outside into the fields, and he's going to put down a seuda in order to join two rishuyos, so that he'll be able to travel from one place to another on Shabbos. So he's on his way to make a eruv. Yachsa miyad, then go back immediately, meaning that's a rishus. You're on your way to go do something that you are not obligated to do. Nobody said that you have to go and make an eruv. What you're doing here is you're doing something that's convenient for you, but it's not a mitzvah, it's a rishus. It is something that you have the right to do if you want, but there's no mitzvah in doing so. Yachsa miyad, the halacha is that you go back immediately, meaning it's not a question of whether or not you have time or you don't have time. You go back immediately because that is the great idea. You have to go get rid of your chametz. And the same din is true about a person that is leaving Yerushalayim. And he goes, "Oy gevalt! I just realized I have a sandwich in my backpack, and the sandwich has basar kodesh in it. It has kodshim. It has whatever it might be. It could be truma. It could be Maseches or Maseches meat, or it could be a korban toda." He says, "Im avrat sofim," if he is already past har hatzofim, meaning overlooking Yerushalayim. So sofim b'mkoma, then he burns it exactly where he is, and he does not have to go back. V'im lav, but if not, choser v'sofer lifnei habira me'atza ma'aracha. And if not, he should go back to the Beis Hamikdash and burn it by the in front of the bira. What exactly is the bira? So Tosfos here points out that Bezvachim beperek Tvul Yom pligi my bira. There's machlokes. What exactly this bira is? This this pyre of some nature. And Rabbi Yochanan tells us in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Makom yesh bahar habayis ubira shmai. There's a place called bira on Har Habayis. Rish Lakish Amar Kol Habayis Kulei have a bira shenemar el habira ashel hachinosi. It's a question of exactly what bira means. Is it the whole of Har Habayis is called the bira, or there is a place specifically that was called the bira? Either which way, you're going to burn it from the Atzeh Hamaracha, from the wood from the mizbech, meaning they would have wood arranged next to the mizbech for this purpose. V'ad kama haychazim, how much do you have to return for in both of these cases, with regards to chametz and with regards to basar kodesh? Rav Meir says ze v'ze b'kebetza. Both this and this is the din is with a kebetza. That's the amount. An egg's worth. That is the amount that you need to go back for. Rabbi Yehuda says kazayis. No, is more machmer. He says that you have to go back even for a kazayis, even for less than a kibetza. Is a kazayis either 2 or 3 kazayis to a kibetza? It's machlokes. The chachamim say basar kodesh because that with regards to basar kodesh, that is with a kazayis. But chametz bekibetza, chametz you go back for a larger amount only for a kibetza. Says the Gemara as follows. Hold on a second. Let's just send this link. Some chavra asking. There we go. Says the Gemara as follows. Amar Rabbi Yochanan says Rabbi Yochanan. Veraminu. Says the Gemara. Veraminu. They have a contradiction. What's the contradiction? If a person is on his way to eat the sudas erisin in his father-in-law's house, or to go make an eruv tchumen, which is voluntary, yachzor miyad, he should go back immediately. So this is a contradiction, because in the Mishnah we had said that a sudas erusin seems to be a mitzvah, and here we're saying that it's a rishus. Rabbi Yochanan says Rabbi Yochanan loikasha, no problem. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi. This is machlokes in the Tanaim. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi debated this exact point. The Tanya, the Brisa tells us sudas erusin rishus, that the suda of erusin, the engagement feast, is a rishus. Divra Rabbi Yehuda, that is Rabbi Yehuda. Obviously, this is engagement midaraisa, meaning not what we call an engagement party today. That's called shiduchim, halachically. But where you give a ring and you say and then you make a feast, and then you wait however many weeks or months or years, and well, up until the year, in order to get married. But the Sudas Erusin says the Gemara, the Daniel Sudas Erusin Rishus. That is the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yossi Amir Mitzvah. Rabbi Yossi says it's a mitzvah. V'hashta the Amar of Chista, and since Rav Chista told us now machlokes b'seuda shnia, the V'hashta and now the Rav Chista taught us a din that there is a machlokes with regards to the Suda Shnia. That this machlokes Tanaim is with regards to a Suda Shnia, the second of the feasts after the halachic engagement. But the first feast, Divrei Kol mitzvah, everybody agrees that it's a mitzvah to make a engagement suda after he gives her the ring. You could even say that there's no contradiction between the Mishnah and the Brisa. Both of them are the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, but like kasha, no difficulty. It depends. The Mishnah that said that there's a mitzvah that is called a mitzvah only with the Su'uda Rishona, but the Su'uda Shniya, everybody agrees, or the Su'uda Shniya, even Rabbi Yehuda would agree, is a Rishus, and therefore, for the Su'uda Shniya, you would have to go back immediately to go burn your chametz, I suppose, and incur the scorn of your father-in-law, who now holds that you are irresponsible. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, says Rabbi Yehuda, Ani lo shamati ela sudas erisin. I only heard this then about Su'udas erisin being a mitzvah. Avaloi sivloinus, but not the sudas of sivloinus. What exactly are sivloinus? So Rashi says, doronus, kelim noim, is that they would send gifts to each other, and then once the gifts were sent, you make an extra suda. So Amar Loi, Rabbi Yossi, says Rabbi Yossi, Ani shamati sudas erisin v'sivloinus. I heard that sudas erisin is a mitzvah, and sivloinus is also a mitzvah. Tanya. And it's told in the Brisa of Rabbi Shimon says, Kol Suda she'ena shel mitzvah, any Suda that it's not a mitzvah, ein Talmud Chacham rashai lahenas mimenu, a Talmud Chacham is not allowed to partake. He's not allowed to benefit from. Meaning, if a person gets invited to a Suda that is to a party, that's not for a mitzvah, so a Talmud Chacham is not allowed to eat there. That's a heavy statement, and we'll see in a moment what that includes. But throughout Jewish history, there were certain tzaddikim that literally would only eat at a Sudas Mitzvah b'chalal, meaning Shabbos and Yom Tov, and Siyumim and Brisin, and otherwise they didn't eat. They only ever ate at Sudas Mitzvah, which is heavy. But Pashtus is what the Gemara is talking about here, is going to parties, meaning you can only go to a party, a Talmud Chacham shouldn't go to a party that is not a mitzvah-oriented party. Like, for example, what? Says the Gemara, Amar b'yochanan kegoin bas kohen li'isha, such as the marriage of a kohen's daughter to a non-kohen. That is the kind of seuda that a Talmud Chacham should not go to. Ubas Talmud Chacham la'amaretz, or the daughter of a Talmud Chacham to an ignoramus. Damar Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Yochanan kol kohen li'isha, bas kohen li'isha, that if the daughter of a kohen marries a yisha, ein zivugan ole yafe, it's not going to be a good marriage. Rashi has an interesting phrase here. Rashi says, what does it mean in zivugan yafe? It's not going to work out well. But mazel tov, it's not going to be a fortuitous event. It's not going to be something that has mazel. And therefore, Talmud Chacham shouldn't go. So Maihi, what does that mean? It's not going to be b'mazel tov in zivugan ole yafe. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda says, almana o grusha o zera in la. One of these three things will happen. Almana, either she'll be a widow, or grusha, or she'll get divorced. Or zera-in-law, or they're not going to have children. That's what it means. Bad luck. Bimas Nisatana was taught in a brisa, kovra, either he will bury her, or she'll bury him. Meaning, obviously, before their appointed time. Otherwise, all happy marriages really kind of end in those two ways. Omiviasai, lidei anius, or she brings him to poverty. So none of this is good stuff. Says the Gemara, Ini, is this really so? Vaha Amar Rabbi Yochanan tell us, person that wants to become rich, Yidbak B'zar Shel Aaron, should cleave to the children of Aaron, meaning marry into the priestly family. That's a good suggestion. What do you mean? That you get poor if you have a Bas Kohen that marries a Isha. That he says this is a good idea. Rabbi Yochanan told us that you should do this. This is if you can get married to a Bas Kohen, this is great. So the Kol Sheken Shetaru Kahuna Ma'ashasan, because all the more Torah and Kahuna will make him rich. Torah and Kahuna, meaning you have a double whammy here. You have Torah and you have Kahuna. So we say Lo Kasha Haba Talmud Chacham Haba Ar Ma'aretz. Yeah, it's true that with the Talmud Chacham, they should get married, but with an Ar Ma'aretz they should for sure not. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yeshua Nasiv Ka'anasa, Rabbi Yeshua married the daughter of a Kohen, Chalosh, and he got very sick. Amari says, it's clear to me that Aaron HaKohen doesn't accept me. It's part of the mishpacha. I got sick. Aaron HaKohen has a taina on me. So I got sick after getting married. Dahavile chasna, that he would have a son-in-law like me. Doesn't want it. Dahavile chasna kiana, he doesn't want a son-in-law like me. So what happened to that marriage? The Gemara doesn't say. Rav Idi bar Avin nasiv kana. So Rav Idi bar Avin married a kohen. Nafku minei trei bnei smichi, and two children that had smicha came from that marriage, meaning that real authentic smicha. Nafku minei trei bnei smichi. It worked out well. Who are they? Rav Sheshes berei de Rav Idi, Rav Yeshua berei de Rav Idi, Rav Sheshes and Rav Yeshua. Amar Rav Papa says, if not for the fact that I had married a kohen, loy is ari, I would never have become wealthy. Meaning this worked out well for me. Amar Rav Kahana says, if I had not married a kohen's daughter, loy galoi, I would never have been exiled. Now, Rav Kahana was exiled, but he was exiled the other way. He was exiled from Bavel back to Eretz Yisrael. Amrule, they said to him, were you not exiled to a place of Torah? You were sent to Eretz Yisrael. That was wonderful. So he says, no. I was not exiled as people usually are exiled, meaning most people exile themselves, go to Eretz Yisrael. They leave their home and they go to Eretz Yisrael. I was chased away, Rashi points out here, by the authorities. He had issues. So it was not exactly great luck for him to marry the Kohen's daughter. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak says, anybody that partakes of a voluntary meal, meaning goes to a party, that there is not a mitzvah, he ends up going to exile, as the pasuk says, that you, the people that eat lambs from the flock and the calves from the midst of the store, meaning just fresh. And then the pasuk says, you will end up going at the head of the exile, meaning you'll be the first people to get exiled. That is the pasuk in Amos, meaning excessive partying, excessive fressing is a one-way ticket into Galus. Says the Gemara, Tana Rabbanan, the Rabbanan taught in the Brisa, Kol Talmid Chacham Amar Besudasai B'chol Malkam. Any Talmid Chacham that is always fressing, meaning he's always making parties, Seif Machriv is Beisai, will eventually end up destroying his house. Almen is Ishtay, and he will end up widowing his wife, meaning he'll die young. Misyavim is Gozlov, and he will orphan his young children. Gozlov literally means young birds. And his learning will be forgotten from him. And big fights, big machloksim will happen to him. And his words will not be heard. And he will desecrate the name of heaven. V'shem Rabbi, in the name of his Rebbe. V'shem Avim, in the name of his father. V'shem Ralai, and he will end up with a bad reputation for him. Ulevanav, and for his children. V'livnebanav, and for his grandchildren. At Sof Kol Hadaros, for the end of all, until the end of all generations. This is a very, very bad thing for a person for a Talmid Chacham, bad for anybody, but even worse for a Talmid Chacham, meaning the stakes are that high. A Talmid Chacham that is constantly partying is going to end up with all of these terrible things. So what exactly is this? What is this bad reputation? So Amar Abaye says, Korulei bar mecham tanuri. They will call him, meaning his son will be known as the son of the oven heater, meaning the son of the guy that's constantly, meaning the son of the pitmaster instead of the son of the rabbi, son of the pitmaster. Rava Amar Rava says Bar Markid Be Kube, the son of the tavern dancer, the person that is always dancing on the tables. Rav Papa says Bar Melachech Pinche, the son of the plate licker, because he's always licking his plate clean. He's always having parties. Rav Shmaya says Bar Mach Rava, the son of the one who folds his garments and passes out, meaning the son of the drunkard. That's apparently the original phrase. Hungover was drunken sailors. You could spend, I think it was like 1 coin. If they needed a place to pass out for the night and they didn't want to sleep in the mud, they would have a string that they would literally be able to pay like 1 coin to be able to lean against the string. It was called being hung over. So basically, Rosh says that the son of the drunk. Tan Rabban, the Rabban told in a Brayso, La'olam yimkar adam kol ma sheyesh lo. Person should sell everything that he has. V'yisa bas talmid chacham, to marry the daughter of a talmid chacham. Why? This is the insurance. This is the value of it. Is the insurance? Because if something happens to him, he dies or he goes into exile. He has insurance that his children will be talmidei chachamim. Meaning, no matter how big a talmid chacham a person is, if something happens to him, so somebody else is going to end up raising his children. So if your wife comes from the family of talmidei chachamim, you're in good shape, because then they'll be raised by talmidei chachamim. And a person should never marry the daughter of an ignoramus. She makes a gola, because if he dies or sent into exile, banov amearetz, his children will be ignorant. Tan Rabbanan, the Brayso says, a person should sell everything they have to marry the daughter of a talmid chacham, and to marry his daughter to a talmid chacham. This is what we sing at weddings. That this is like grapes that are mixed together with grapes, right? Meaning you see grapevine growing together with another grapevine. That's beautiful. Davar noim iskabel. This is something beautiful and acceptable. V'lo yisa bas amaretz, and a person should not marry an amaretz, meaning should not marry his daughter to an amaretz. Mashal inve gefen be inve hasna, because that's like mixing together the fruit of the vine, meaning it's a grapevine that's growing be inve hasna together with weeds, basically with a thorn bush. So it doesn't work out well. Davar kir, it's a disgusting thing. Turning over the page, ve'enim iskabel, and it is not acceptable. Rashi says l'shemim. It doesn't sound nice. Meaning, public opinion here makes a difference. When people go, that doesn't look like fitting shidduch. So that is apparently something that we should be taken care of. Be'ezhem Mizbarach, to continue with Daf Mem Tes Amud Beis tomorrow. And then we will be finishing up the parak on Daf Nun, Be'ezhem Mizbarach, on Shabbos, with a new parak starting on Sunday morning. Looking forward, Be'ezhem Mizbarach, to seeing everybody there. And have a wonderful day and a good Chodesh.